There are tons of business podcasts to choose from, but only one has the stamp of approval. Kristin Stampini is South Florida's leading real estate entrepreneur and your trusted source for everything real estate.
I would like to welcome our listeners and thank you for joining us today for another episode of our podcast, The Stamp of Approval. I'm Kristin Stampini, co-founder of the Stampini team with RE/MAX in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also a certified real estate coach with Craig Proctor, and we own the Global Virtual Real Estate Assistants. I'm a national trainer and public speaker, and my husband Mark and I are also real estate investors. The Stamp of Approval podcast was launched to share and educate other realtors, consumers, and other business owners across North America by sharing value content to our listeners in each and every episode. I share my experiences and triumphs and failures and strengths throughout my entire life and hope that my audience will be able to expand their knowledge on everything in real estate, business, sales, and mindset oriented. I have Nancy Kowalik here today, who is a friend of mine who I've known for years, and she is the owner and broker of Nancy Kowalik Real Estate Group, is one of South Jersey's top real estate brokers, and has repeatedly been named a top real estate agent in New Jersey. Actually, now she is one of the top 100 agents in the whole country. So with $57 million in sales in 2018, Nancy has been consistently breaking her own records since she began in real estate just 12 years ago. It was the sale of this property that eventually propelled her into the real estate of her own. So today, Nancy Kowalik Real Estate Group is one of South Jersey's fastest growing boutique real estate agencies, and Nancy is also extremely active member in her community, and Nancy enjoys participating in local events and supporting the community. Well, welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much. Gosh, you have so much energy, Kristin. God bless you.
No, you do too. I was like, oh my gosh, you always have so much energy. And it's always nice to see you. Just saw you recently. And I just, I watch you over the years and I've seen what you've done. And it's really been, inspiring, for consumers or business owners out there, to see what Nancy's done in the real estate industry, and other realtors. It really has. You're an inspiring person. So I'm so happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you. And likewise, Kristin, because not only do you have energy, but you've always, you not only are you a real estate agent, you're coaching, investing, doing, and helping to educate the population, which is absolutely admirable. So thanks for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. So what we're going to talk about today, which, so many people, consumers, sellers, and also agents talk about all the time, is marketing the listing to sell fast and for top dollar. So is that important? And what do you do?
So it's incredibly important. There's so many options out there with the consumer. What do you do to differentiate yourself? And so we know, Kristin, it's about accountability. It's about putting your money where your mouth is. And so by talking to consumers and saying, if I don't do my job right, you can fire me. If I don't do my job right, and I put you in a position, I'll purchase a home from you, right? To make sure that you're not owning two mortgages. There's lots of ways to go about this. And the average agent doesn't have a lot of skin in the game, frankly. It's a little bit, for the largest transaction of many people's lives, you want someone who is absolutely focused on getting you to your goals, who's constantly out there searching for buyers now, so that by the time I reach you and meet you, I might have a buyer for you in my database, which is just huge, right?
Absolutely. So what do you do?
So in terms of my marketing, I do a lot of social marketing. So, I started as most people do, you start sphere of influence, right? So I was very involved, everything from Girl Scout leader to being involved in local politics. And everything in between. I'm still on I still chair the planning and the joint land use board in my area. So it gives me a certain level of credibility with people. But beyond talking to people that I know, I'm reaching out through social media and talking to people about what makes this community amazing. I talk about my personal experience. I moved here to have a family here. I moved here because it's such a great school district. It's so centrally located, 20 minutes from Philadelphia. We're, an hour from the shore. So I'm not just talking about selling a home. I'm talking about selling a lifestyle and having people reach out to me for those things. So right? What is really important.
Absolutely. What does a typical agent do?
Your typical agent will take a listing, will take some pictures. Hopefully they're paying for them professionally. We invest a lot of money in photography because that's the first image people are going to see of your property. They pop it in the MLS and they hope that somebody else is going to bring a buyer. In fact, some of the most successful agents up until a few years ago were school teachers that worked full time, but they just knew everybody and there was that level of trust. So they would pop it out in the MLS. You couldn't talk to them until 4 or 5 or 6 in the afternoon, even try and get into the property. And they would wait for someone else to bring them the buyer. So doing very little to bring people, to bring a buyer to the table. You're just really kind of putting it out there as an ad, which is kind of crazy to me. So you can't really reach out across the board with just an MLS. There's so much clutter out there. There's so many people put their homes on the market that price it wrong, don't have good pictures. By the way, when you're selling your home, do you look at the pictures and look at your presentation out there? Oh my goodness. I don't want to be looking at, your laundry basket, and I don't want to be looking at your unmade bed, but plenty of agents have no problem with putting that out there for consumers to see. So we make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So why doesn't every realtor out there market listings the same way?
That's an excellent question. So they're not taught the right way. So I wouldn't blame them per se in that, when we go to real estate school, all they do is teach you the law. You want to learn about discrimination. You want to learn about contract laws that pertains to that property. That's what they teach you. They don't teach you a thing about creating demand, about getting it seen by people, about inviting buyers into your area. None of that is taught. And so, I looked around, years ago, it's been 6+ years that I've been with Craig Proctor now. I looked around, found a coaching company because I had this roller coaster ride of, business, no business, business, no business. And, trying to find people that I could help service. I knew how to handle the client. I didn't know how to market their homes, and really no one locally teaches you that either. You have to kind of go and search. I did go find that with Craig Proctor, as you did, and my life was changed after that. And thankfully, the lives of the people I come in contact with, my sellers, were changing outcomes in people's lives, which is just so exciting and rewarding.
Absolutely.
When we get paid.
Well, and another thing is I know in our area, we have over 50,000 realtors, okay, and they sell less than 2 homes a year. Now nationally, that's a little bit different, across the do you know what those statistics are in your area?
So it's interesting that you asked that question. I just talked about this morning. So there's over 16,900 agents in my multiple listing area, which is just enormous. And so if you look at, I just looked at the statistics for January and February just to see how people were faring in the market for January and February. And I can tell you in January, February, the number of agents that had no sales. I was just looking at it from a recruiting perspective. Hey, who can I go talk to? And agents that did decent business had no sales for the last nearly 3 months. Can you imagine being an agent and not having an income for 3 months? More importantly, can you imagine being that seller out there waiting for you to sell your home?
No, absolutely not. And one of the reasons why I really asked you that, Nancy, is because with you, basically, with people that are not doing business or 1 or 2 transactions a year, can they afford to market?
No, they can't afford. All they can afford today. Sometimes they can't even afford to pay their dues, and they're constantly being threatened. You have to pay a few $100 a year to stay in the MLS. But you're talking about you have to pay for lock boxes and signs, and then of course marketing. And many of them now, it's a sign.
Yeah. Hello.
Retail entry in this area. Now I have to go pay for expensive pictures to be taken by somebody else. I used to be able to, not spend any money. Can you imagine not spending any money to sell someone's most important?
Well, and I don't think sometimes but
a lot of people can't get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think sometimes that sellers really know that it's so important to choose and to pick the right agent and to actually Google them, look what they do, right? See them on social media, see the type of marketing that they do. Because if you think about it, number one is you do have to get as much exposure out there, right? So, there's few agents that really market properties the right way to get top dollar.
Yes. That's correct. There's very few agents that are putting anything out there besides the MLS. So, our social media strategy has been huge. Again, as a stakeholder in the community, as someone who's very involved across the board, I did parlay that, and there was trust there to begin with, but I did turn that around, and I'm a spokesperson for the lifestyle of living in this area, which you do quite well as well. That lifestyle thing is an important piece of every puzzle. Every community has a lifestyle and a feel. And by being able to talk about that and educate buyers, that's a huge bonus, right? So that's a big deal. And then, when you're reaching out through social media and micro targeting who that buyer is going to be, whether it's a move up buyer, a step down buyer, I'm hitting that age where a lot of my friends are thinking about the taxes that they're paying in our lovely state and some of the options of perhaps downsizing. And so now they're looking to me to help make sure they're maximizing what they can get out of their homes as opposed to just selling it for, what.
Yeah.
The neighbor, we always try to outperform that. And in many cases, because of the additional marketing, we're outperforming that market.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is great. So tell me a couple things as a seller, what they need to look for in an agent to really sell their home fast and for top dollar, and agents, what they really need to do to also sell and make the investment to sell a seller's home for fast and for top dollar.
Right. So as a seller, you want to know what kind of track record your agent has. So, you look at my MLS statistics, it is good for something, right? The statistics say that I sell homes for 99.44% of their listing price. So my asking price is at my listing price, which is a great argument for why should I price it there, right? And we're outperforming the market. So what are the statistics of the people you're talking to? Are they selling at 96 or 95% of the listing price? That's the average in our market. And is that really what you want, Mr. So do they have what we call buyers in waiting? Because I have a database of 23,000 people who are all looking for a home. There are different stages in the process. When I bring up that point, many people have no idea.
Yep.
Many people have no idea of what's going on. Yeah. So that's always wow, I've never heard of that. I've really never heard of that. And when you're reaching out through the social medias, and I say the micro targeting, there's constant dialogue. I mean, you can literally go onto my sites and see people tagging their spouses and saying, let's go see this house this weekend. And then private messaging me, hey, by the way, we have a house to sell. Is that going to be a problem? How do we handle this? And I go right into, listen, you don't need to own two properties. By the way, I set myself apart because I can sell your home. I can purchase your home if I can't sell it. So, are other agents putting their money where, are they that accountable to you? Or is it just, I can't get you on the phone. Well, sorry, I'm busy. And that will never happen when you work with me either. There's always someone answering my phone live. It's a big deal to me. It's one of my pet peeves.
Absolutely. And
so you have to look at what other people are doing in the marketplace and how to differentiate yourself in that marketplace.
Absolutely. So, And for realtors, what do they really need to focus on when marketing a listing?
For marketing, they need to focus on the things that first of all, they need to take good pictures, right? So you need to make sure that beds are made, that the house is being shown in its best possible light, and pay for a professional photographer, for heaven's sake. That's not your strong suit, right? Pay for someone to do that. And then don't just put it in the MLS. My goodness, there are lots of places. I mean, we pay for showcase placement, even on places like Zillow and Realtor.com, which we need to use. The consumers are looking. But if there's 95 homes for sale in that price range, I don't want to be number 94. I want to be up at the top, right? Yeah. So as a real estate agent, invest in the types of venues that you're using to service your clients, because they're counting on you for best price. So you have to be in front of more people. So as a realtor, you want to make sure the house is presented well and spend some money on that property. It's worth the return on investment.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you. So Nancy, how can either people reach out to you, realtors, and also consumers? How can they reach you?
Sure. So my brokerage, it's on Main Street in Mullica Hill, and it's Nancy Kowalik Real Estate Group. My office number is 856-478-6562. You can also reach us on southjerseyteam.com.
Awesome, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, listeners, and have an awesome day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.